Good morning. Good morning. It is my pleasure to be here this morning. My name is Copley Gertis, and I have the pleasure of being the chair of the City Council this year in 2025. And just thank you so much for joining us for the beginning and the flag raising of Pride Month. Quickly, before a couple of comments, I want to introduce some of my colleagues. We've got City Council members here behind me, Vice Chair Lisette Hanowitz, Councilmember Brandy Gabbard, Councilmember Richie Floyd, and Councilmember Deborah Figgs-Sanders. Thank you. See, that's why I looked. And certainly last but not least, Councilmember Gina Driscoll. I would have gotten in a lot of trouble for not introducing the council member in which we are in her district. We also have some other elected officials, Congresswoman Kathy Castor, Representative Lindsey Cross, and Representative Michelle Rayner. I just want to thank our representatives, both from the federal and the state level, for joining us. That just shows you the partnership that we have, not only across the state of Florida, but across the country. And then obviously, welcome to our mayor, Mayor Kenneth T. Welch. So just quickly, because they put the pressure on me to go first, this was a hard one to prepare for, I'll be honest with you, and not because it's a hard subject, because there was a lot I wanted to say. And in today's political climate, as I'm sure you'll hear from our representatives, you can often be rebuked for the differences that we have, but not here in St. Petersburg. In St. Petersburg, we celebrate what we have in common and our differences. That is what makes St. Petersburg so special. You know, I was blessed to be raised in a family where I was taught, both softly and hard, that you start with respect and you lean in with love. And as I was thinking about this month's Pride Parade, I have a core memory in 2006. My dad was running for State House, and he said, "Copley, I'm going to be in the Pride Parade." At the time, I was driving, I think, a 1999 Gold Ford Ranger. And he goes, "I want to put speakers in the back of your truck, and I want to play music, and I want to go through the Pride Parade." I said, "Let's do it. Let's go. Come on." He goes, "What should we play?" I said, "We're playing the musical Rent, and we're going to blast it, and we're going to sing it, and we're going to keep going." And so as I was thinking about that core memory, I thought about some of the lyrics in that musical. And I know I get stamped with the baseball guy, but listen, there is a screaming drama nerd inside of this body. And so I know every single word to the musical Rent. And I was thinking of some of those lyrics. And two songs jumped out at me. Seasons of Love, where it says 525,600 minutes. How do I measure the year? How do I measure that year? And it asks a couple of questions. And then it decides, I measure in love. Imagine if we could go minute by minute and measure that minute by love. And then a few songs later, and this is one I have tried to live by. There is only now, there is only here, give in to love or live in fear. And let me tell you, we do not live in fear in St. Petersburg. We measure our years and we give in to love. We choose love in St. Petersburg. I choose love. You choose love. This city chooses love. And that is what makes it so damn special. So, on the raising of this flag, let us celebrate us choosing love and not fear in the city of St. Petersburg. Amen? Amen. It is my pleasure to introduce Representative Michelle Rayner. Thank you for being here, everybody.
All right, good morning. Good morning. No, listen, I only have one cup of coffee, so y'all got to work with me. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Pride. Happy Pride. Come on, y'all. Happy Pride. Happy Pride. Yes, 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 yes. I am so glad to be here. My name is Michelle Rayner. I am the state representative for House District 62. I am also the first openly black queer woman to ever hold any public office in the state of Florida. And guess what? St. Pete did that. St. Pete did that. And I am happy to be with you here today on our flag raising. Some of you, many of you actually, we saw, myself and Representative Cross saw in Tallahassee when you came to advocate and talk to lawmakers. And there was something that I said there, and I want to kind of repeat that back and kind of to piggyback off of Chair Gertis's points, that guess what? We are in a space and time where us as a city, we have to be unshakable. Because we see folks that occupy somebody's mansion in Tallahassee that want to attack cities like ours, that want to attack cities of progress, that want to attack cities of inclusivity, that want to attack cities of making sure that people feel loved. And I know the theme for St. Pete Pride is rooted in. This year, they want to attack folks who are rooted in, and not just people who identify as LGBTQ, but people who are accomplices. Many people who are standing here, who are elected officials, and folks who are saying, listen, I just wanted to come out and show support. You have folks where we are advocating that want to attack that, but guess what? We have to be unshakable in this moment. It is incumbent upon us, even as we're raising this flag. Everyone's like, oh, it's a cool event. You know, we're just raising a flag. But you have to understand, when we decide as a city that we are going to come together and nobody gets to tell us who we are going to be. When we raise that flag, it is saying, this is who we are. We are unshakable. This is our line in the sand. I don't care what laws you think you're going to pass. I don't care how you think you're going to discriminate people. But our city, St. Petersburg, Florida, in this moment, we are saying all are welcome here. So it's not just a flag raising to say happy Pride, but it's a sign. It is a note. It is a warning shot to folks who would say that people are not welcome in the state of Florida. Well, guess what? You may not be welcome in some cities, but in St. Petersburg, Florida, baby, you are welcome to be who you are, to love who you love, to be who you want to be. Because guess what? As our mayor has always said, we are St. Pete. And it is my, listen, I almost forgot. It is my pleasure and my honor, honey. Baby, you know, we got some folks that represent us in Congress that I don't really know who they are. But baby, we got a firecracker. We got somebody that fights for us on the daily, and that has shown up not only for our community here in St. Pete, but has shown up for the LGBTQ community, and really also does it wearing really cool clothes too. So I love your fits. So I am happy to introduce our Congresswoman, the Congresswoman for Tampa Bay, Congresswoman Kathy Castor.
Wow, talk about a firecracker. How about that Rep. Rayner? Imagine what it's like for Rep. Rayner and Rep. Cross to head up to Tallahassee these days and stand up for what's right and to stand up for equal rights. So that makes me so proud to be here in St. Petersburg and to represent this community that values equal rights and is a welcoming place. Mayor and council members and all of you, you should be so proud of what is happening here in St. Petersburg. Part of the reason that it has grown and thrived like it has is just because of this, because everyone is welcome, no matter who they are and who they love and what they look like, where they come from and all of that. That is so meaningful in this day and age. You know, right here in the shadow of this new courthouse on the steps of City Hall, I think it's important to reflect upon progress. It was 50 years ago, on the 4th of July, that equal rights advocates started to meet at Constitution Hall in Philadelphia to demand equal rights that were stated pretty clearly in the Constitution and in our Declaration, but were never really recognized. This was before the Stonewall riots that happened a few years later. But it really set off this march towards equal rights and progress. And I think as we look ahead, next year is our 250th year anniversary of that Declaration of Independence. And I know if you reflect on the march towards equal rights, there have been stops and starts. There's been violence. It's been painful. We've had moments of joy. I was on the steps of the United States Supreme Court when Obergefell and marriage equality was declared the law of the land. And now it seems like there are folks that want to hold us back, that don't want people to reach their full potential, that want to enshrine discrimination into our laws, certainly into executive orders, which are temporary, by the way. But we're not going to let hate win, are we? No. We're going to continue to march forward. And when we meet that 250th year anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, give meaning to those words, that all people are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that means equal rights for all. It doesn't mean equal rights for some. And here in St. Petersburg, we're going to ensure that that is the case. And we're going to ensure that is the case because we have a mayor who understands how important it is that all citizens enjoy equal rights and non-discrimination in housing and employment, and just in the day-to-day respect that we owe each other. I'm so proud to introduce America's mayor, Sunshine City's mayor, the great Mayor Ken Welch.
Yes, I heard that.
Thank you. Good morning, St. Pete. How are y'all doing? Well, I get to follow Congresswoman Castor and Representative Rayner and Chair/Reverend Copley Gertis up here. And that's usually a tough thing because they are dynamic speakers, but it's really a blessing that you get to see what level of leadership we have in this community that is out there doing the job, standing for all of us. And I want to acknowledge them for what they do. Please, y'all give them a hand. Thank you to our city council, to all our community representatives, to our partners from St. Pete Pride who are here. I did notice Councilmember Mike Harding moving up. So he is here as well, way in the back, hard-working council member. Thank you for being here. So each year we raise this flag, and your presence here matters. It sends a message, not just to our city, not just to our state, but to our entire nation. That's right. Each year we proudly raise the pride flag here at City Hall. It's a simple but powerful act, and it becomes more important every time we do it. And in this moment, as Representative Rayner said, it's no exception. In fact, it's more important than ever that we are clear about who we are in our city and the principles that we believe in and that we will fight for. Across our nation, we're witnessing a wave of legislation and rhetoric aimed at erasing the very things that make us who we are: our diversity, our history, our humanity. But not in St. Pete. That's right. In this city, we do not fear our differences. We embrace them. We celebrate them. We understand that our strength lies in our diversity, in the LGBTQ plus community, in our artists and entrepreneurs, in our families, our youth, our seniors. We all matter in our city. Yes. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, quote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere," end quote. That's not just a quote, that's a warning, and it's a call to action. Raising this flag is a declaration that here in St. Petersburg, we stand with our LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters, siblings, sons and daughters. We see you, we value you, and we will stand beside you in the fight for equality and justice. Today, this flag will fly high above City Hall as a symbol of pride, but also as a symbol of purpose, a reminder that equity, inclusion, and justice are not just words that we speak. They are not words that can be randomly redefined by others. They are values that we live every day. To everyone here today, thank you all. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for standing up. And thank you for helping us build a city where everyone belongs. Because we are St. Pete, all of us. And now it's my honor to officially recognize what this flag represents by reading the proclamation. Whereas the city of St. Petersburg has a diverse lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning community, and is committed to supporting intentional equity for all people throughout our city. And whereas many of the residents, students, city employees, and business owners within the city of St. Petersburg who contribute to the enrichment of our city are a part of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning community. And whereas it is our vision that St. Petersburg will be a diverse, vibrant city guided by principled progress and intentional inclusivity, where innovation, partnerships, and ingenuity create opportunities for all. And whereas this year we celebrate the 23rd anniversary of St. Pete Pride, Florida's largest pride parade and festival, and recognize the substantial economic impact that an event of this size has had on St. Petersburg and the surrounding areas. And whereas we partner with our neighboring cities and cities across the United States to recognize and celebrate June as LGBTQ Pride Month. Now, therefore, I, Kenneth T. Welch, Mayor of the City of St. Petersburg, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2025 as LGBTQ Pride Month in St. Petersburg, and invite everyone to reflect on the ways we can live together with a commitment to mutual respect and understanding, and further recognize Pride Month by flying the rainbow flag at City Hall during the month of June. Happy Pride, St. Pete. And now join me in welcoming to the podium St. Pete Pride Board President, Dr. Byron Green Collish. Byron. Welcome.
Thank you.
Period, Fred. Yes.
Hi, friends. As Mayor said, my name is Dr. Byron Green Collish, Dr. BGC, if you catch me on social media. Before I jump into my speech, I want to say a massive thank you to the mayor and to our council people, because over my time as board president, it has been incredibly difficult, both in Tallahassee and making sure that we create amazing spaces. We have fought legislation and had multiple conversations to make sure that we can show up in the ways that make sense for us and that can truly celebrate St. Pete Pride in the way that it has been done over the last 22 seasons. And never at any point in time during those fights did I have to worry about coming home to an inhospitable local government. So I thank you again, Mayor Welch, to all of our council people for really stepping up and standing in the void for us. I want to dive in because, of course, as we prepare to enter our 23rd season here at St. Pete Pride, I'm filled with gratitude. This year, we welcomed our new executive director, Bior Guigny. Make some noise for Bior. We welcome new board members, some of which I see out in the crowd, so I'm incredibly grateful for our new board members and our board members that have stuck with us, and even some previous board members as well. We also welcomed a brand new royal court on Sunday, and I think I see Oscar De Mayo and Seduction Dickerson, so please make some noise for them. Representing St. Pete Pride this year, reigning over our entire 2025 year. But I would be remiss to not acknowledge the history that got us to this moment. If y'all mind, I'll do a quick history lesson. I'll make it quick. We often talk about Stonewall, but I want to take you back to 1955 in Baltimore, where one of the first recorded instances of protest around queer rights started. And if I did my math correctly, from 1955 up into Stonewall, there were over 55 instances of protest fighting for queer rights. Amongst those 26, they continued to pop up across the country. They weren't located in any one space, and they weren't able to get the traction that we needed to really fuel this movement forward. But on June 28th, 1969, at the Stonewall Inn in New York City, 2 black and brown trans women said, "Enough is enough." And I want to underscore the importance of those 2 women starting the fight that has become the Pride movement as we know it. But there was something different about Stonewall. For those of you that don't know, that riot lasted for 6 days. continual action and engagement, but it was not able to be sustained for the length of time were it not for the coalitions that they built along the way. The history that they had amassed up until that point, the 26 different protests and movements that happened up until that point that really fueled the anger and the resistance needed to continue to fight for 6 days straight. There are movements that happened after the Stonewall riot, directly after the Gay Liberation Front, a radical movement launched public demonstrations and protests and stand in the moments. And political officials, they engaged with them. Similar groups followed, including the Gay Activist Alliance, Radical Lesbians, and STAR. But 1 year later, 1970, the 1 year anniversary of the Stonewall riots, the New York City community members marched together, amongst them many of the coalitions that helped make that 6-day riot what it was. They called it the Christopher Street Liberation Day. It was not pride. It was a day of liberation. The beauty in that was the amazing amount of coalitions that were built. There were organizations that took off from that moment that held on to that same idea that we are stronger together. Human Rights Campaign in 1980, who partnered with racial justice, immigrant rights, and disability rights organizations highlighting intersectionality in their advocacy. National LGBTQ Task Force pioneered early LGBTQ faith and community partnerships, creating religious communities and fostering progressive religious advocacy for the LGBTQ rights. This idea of collective liberation, that your freedom is inherently connected to my freedom, is what is going to drive us into the future and what drove us to this point that we are currently in. Our national history doesn't look too different from our local history. 23 years ago, local business owners, leaders, and activists built our version of that very first Christopher Street movement. That took root in the city. It covered our city in love. It built a coalition of organizations, leaders, and citizens that saw the power in the movement and joined and strengthened our roots. Today, I am proud to continue in that tradition, partnering with organizations like Trans Network, Tampa Bay Black Lesbians, partnering with faith leaders like J.C. Pritchett and Pastor Andy, and businesses like Cocktail and The Wet Spot. With these ever-deepening roots, we've grown to be the largest pride celebration in the state and amongst one of the largest in the country. So give it up for that. But more importantly, I want you to give it up for you, because we could not and do not want to do this movement without you. It is you who made this organization as large as we have gotten. It is you that has sustained us for the last 22 years and into our 23rd season. So I thank you again to the mayor, to city council, and most importantly, you, our community. It is this community that has kept us rooted through hard times, through setbacks, and a few storms. But I am grateful for the roots that have sustained us. This community is rooted in resilience. It is rooted in tradition. It is rooted in love. But above all, we are rooted in St. Pete. Thank you.
Thank you, Byron. We are ready to raise the flag. Y'all ready? Let's do it.